Update from the attorney representing the family of a Georgia man shot dead by police while lying down in his own home. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to BNC Live on this Wednesday, June 16th. I'm Laverne McGee. We first told you yesterday about Johnny Lorenzo Bolton, the Atlanta area man shot twice last December in his home when police served a no-knock drug search warrant. The 49-year-old died from his injuries. His family says this case is reminiscent of the Bianca Taylor case. Bolton's sister Daphne says she spoke to her brother often, and she never knew him to have a physical altercation with anyone. And she says regardless of his past troubles, he was on the right track.
What upsets me is that somebody decided to give him an expiration date before he was able to keep his promise to me and to all of us. Like, I'm gonna get it right. I'm gonna get it right. I'm gonna get it right.
Bolton's family says almost 6 months after this shooting, there's a lack of movement from the Cobb County Sheriff's Office, and their attorney says the no-knock warrant was based on false information. Joining us now is that attorney, Zack Greenamyre, representing the Bolton family. Welcome to BNC Live, Zack.
Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you, and of course, first off, we want to offer our condolences. This is a tragic loss. How is the family doing right now?
This is devastating. Johnny was a father, he was a brother, he was a son, and the Bolton family is crushed by what happened, both for what happened to their family, their friend, someone that meant the world to them, but also for the way in which his death fits into a broader pattern in the United States in recent times of people being killed by law enforcement without justification based on the facts as we know them right now.
Yeah, it does seem hard to believe. Now, what you're claiming is that the no-knock warrant used by the sheriff's office was based on false and outdated information. Tell us about that.
Yeah, there are two troubling aspects of this, and two categories of mistakes that we believe were made. First, Johnny Bolton was shot and killed while he was sleeping. We have eyewitnesses who were in the apartment with him, who say that immediately prior to the Cobb County Sheriff's Office SWAT team coming into the apartment, he was sleeping on a couch where he stayed. In response to the bang, without any further announcement that anyone was at the door, he stood up and he was immediately shot multiple times and killed. That alone is horrific. But more problematically,
absolutely, it's frightening.
We have reason to believe that the search warrant shouldn't have issued in the first place, and certainly shouldn't have been a no-knock warrant, because the warrant was based on old and outdated information. The warrant stated that the warrant, none of the people who were the targets of this warrant were present. Johnny Bolton's name does not appear anywhere in this warrant as a suspect or as a target, and the law enforcement officers that executed the warrant didn't have the right information in order to proceed.
So, Zack, what are police and the investigators telling you then? It sounds like you have a lot of proof and evidence that something went wrong. What are they telling you?
Specifically with regard to the Cobb County Sheriff, Sheriff Owen, who campaigned and was elected as a progressive and as a reformer. The answer to that question is nothing, or essentially nothing. We reached out privately to the sheriff, who was elected but had not yet taken office at the time of the shooting. We tried to work with him, both for transparency and then for reform, to make sure that no one else is killed in a no-knock warrant like this in Cobb County and in the state of Georgia. After repeated efforts to get in touch with him, he initially said he would talk with us and then declined. He only spoke with us after we went to the press and after political pressure started to mount on him. Even then, the information that he has been willing to provide is minimal. And more troublingly, the information that he has made himself aware of seems to be limited as well. The Cobb County Sheriff's Office has done an internal investigation. The sheriff says he hasn't looked at that. The Georgia Bureau of Investigations has done its separate investigation and turned that over to the Cobb DA's office. As a matter of law and policy, the sheriff has a right to that GBI investigative file right now. And as of last week, he said he hadn't looked at it. Nevertheless,
Okay,
the officer. Go ahead.
So it sounds like what we're hearing is basically they're not doing anything.
Correct. And perhaps worse than doing nothing in this instance, the sheriff has not looked at the investigation done by his people or done by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, and has cleared this officer to come back to the force in the same capacity.
Okay, so what is the next step then? Because you need to be able to take this higher, obviously, and can you do that? Who would be the next step up to get some answers?
Right. So we have a variety of tools at our disposal. We will aggressively pursue justice, which includes first transparency and then accountability. And we're working with the Cobb District Attorney's Office, who is presenting this case to a grand jury for possible indictment over the course of the summer. And then we have the civil litigation system, where once there is subpoena power, law enforcement can't hide behind investigative privilege.
Zack, I want to talk a little bit about the Bianca Taylor case, because I think that's where most people certainly heard about this whole no-knock warrant issue. In that case, officers said they fired shots in response to Taylor's boyfriend shooting first. He said he thought they were burglars. Now, in this case, it's a little bit different. Bolton's case, you're saying that the officer discharged his weapon, there was an occupant that was struck, and Bolton stood up after the SWAT team entered without warning. So why would the officers have fired the shots in this case?
We do not know the answer to that question. And that's part of what leads us to believe that this is not a justified shoot, right? And unlike, as egregious of an example of a unjustified police shooting as Bianca Taylor's was, in that instance, police had been fired upon. That was not the case in this instance. No person fired at officers. Johnny Bolton was unarmed and made no threatening moves. He simply stood up in response to a bang at a little after 4 o'clock in the morning, and then he was immediately killed.
So how serious of a problem this is nationwide? Are you aware? I mean, it sounds like people anywhere could fear that they're in their home and the police make a mistake and all of a sudden you're shot. I mean, is it that serious of a problem, this no-knock warrant situation?
It's an incredibly serious problem, and in a lot of ways, the law enforcement in the United States' reliance on no-knock warrants just doesn't make sense. There are two common justifications for no-knock warrants. One is officer safety, the element of surprise, and the second is to prevent the destruction of evidence in drug cases. With regard to the first, officer safety, by going in the middle of the night into residences where there are more guns than people in the United States, officers can fairly expect to be met with someone expecting an intruder when they come in unannounced in the middle of the night. That puts officers in unnecessary danger. With regard to fearing the destruction of evidence, if you have an amount of drugs that can be flushed down the toilet in the seconds between announcing yourself as a police officer and coming into the house, that is necessarily a trivial amount of drugs compared to the value of a human life.
Well, certainly most people would agree with that. Unfortunately, we always have to ask the question, what does the family consider justice? We know you can never bring back a loved one, but what would justice look like for this family?
The first step is transparency. Provide the family, provide the public with information about what happened. What is the claimed excuse for why this happened? Who is the officer who shot and killed Johnny Bolton? Why is that officer back doing the same exact things, executing search warrants without any kind of accountability and without any changes to policy? How do we prevent this from happening again? And what will Cobb County Sheriff's Office and the other law enforcement agencies involved in procuring the warrant do to make this right?
And finally, we know that we're told that this case may go to a grand jury. Is that correct?
My understanding is that the Cobb County District Attorney's Office intends to present this to a grand jury for possible criminal charges against the shooting officer.
What are your thoughts on that?
I would like to see all the evidence. I would like to see the GBI report. I think the public deserves to see the interviews that these officers have given, the justifications they have provided for their actions, if any. And I think that justice needs to be done based on what that evidence shows.
Have you been getting support from any of the other attorneys or families who've been involved over the last year, of course, with all of these shootings and so forth? The George Floyd family, Bianca Taylor's family. Are you getting any type of guidance or support from any of them?
There's a relatively small community of attorneys in Georgia and around the country who specialize in this kind of police misconduct work. We work closely with them day in, day out on all of our cases. We see ourselves as being involved in a broader struggle. We've certainly gotten support and continue to get support and give support in all of these kind of cases.
All right. Well, thank you so much for explaining to us what the situation is. And of course, we'll have you back to give us an update when that happens. Thank you so much, Attorney Zack Greenamyre. We appreciate you joining us here on BNC.